Someone not liking you is one of the greatest compliments you will ever receive. Disclaimer, I'm not talking about people who are just plain assholes. Obviously, you all are the problem. People won't like you because you're difficult to control, because you're who they wish they were, and because you're comfortable with not being liked. Why do you think there are people who do not like you even though you've never done anything to them? You are so powerful, dare I say likable. These people have to pull reasons out of thin air to justify not liking you. Because I mean, my God, you're already intelligent, attractive, and kind, good personality even, so we gotta find something that's wrong with you, don't we?
Welcome to the Villan era, where we stop saying sorry and start saying watch me. Let our boundaries do the talk. So, are you ready?
I've been seeing a lot of the girls talk about how they're now entering their villain era, and to that I say congratulations and welcome to the villain arc. It is the best arc of your life. But as someone who has been a lifelong villain, i.e. I've never had a people-pleasing era, I want to let you know what it is like to be a woman who prioritizes her opinions and her feelings over the opinions and feelings of others. Because as freeing as it might be to say you're in your villain era, actually sticking to that is no easy task, because stuff like what I'm about to tell you is going to follow. So truth number one is that people are always going to be telling you that you are doing the most, especially when you clock disrespect. This one time, this guy was trying to get my number at a bar after a nice little round of flirty banter, and he pulled out his phone and just put it on like the phone dialing page. And I sat there and looked at him and was like, what is this? And he was like, you know what this is. And I was like, no, I really don't, because I'll call 911 right now. And then after a little bit of back and forth, he was like, so you're not going to give me your number? I was like, are you going to ask for it? And he literally was like, I don't have to do all that. Like, you're doing a lot. And I was like, no, I'm not. You're being disrespectful. Like, open your mouth and ask for what you want. And so that was the last interaction I ever had with that person. But I know had I continued to interact with that person, they would have just continued to disrespect me. And then you'll tell stories like this to people who might not have achieved the same level of comfort with clocking disrespect or even recognizing disrespect. And they'll say, oh my God, you didn't even know this person. Why don't you give them the benefit of the doubt? The benefit of the doubt is for people that you already know, love, and trust. They have already proven themselves to you. Now, the second one is going to be quite hard, especially for women in particular, especially in that late 20s, early 30s, or honestly, even all throughout the 30s stage of life. And that is that bonding with other women will become more difficult because the vast majority of women bond over shame. They bond over the silly things that they do and the shame that they feel because the people around them have made them feel like they're less than. And it's clear that they're committed to continuing to feel this way, so it might just feel unnecessary or mean to clock them on it, but you will start to get a sick feeling in your stomach when someone is telling you about the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th time another person in their life has disrespected them, and you don't want to be mean, but you're like, girl, stand up. But then that might lead to fear and shame that they have, and ultimately conversations that they might not be ready to have with you yet. And so you might have to slowly kind of lessen friendships that are based on stuff like that. Because even think of your friends or perhaps your mom's or auntie's friends who just sit around wet salads and talk about how their husbands are terrible. That behavior is not appealing to me. I would prefer to be partnered with someone who respects me. I don't know, it sounds really crazy. This is the Amicole Skin Stick, as pretty much always. I don't know what type of order I'm doing my makeup in tonight. Whenever I do a get ready with me, it is just so hard for me to keep focused on the actual makeup order. I feel like I can only do my makeup in a sensical way if I'm doing a voiceover, but once I'm talking, it's really just whatever goes. But it's turning out okay. Anyway, truth number 3, and this is honestly probably the hardest and most isolating one, is that you are gonna have to stand 10 toes down on your conviction, on your discernment, on your intuition, and on everything that God told you about a situation. Because people who are used to the type of people who are afraid to be seen as the villain are gonna try to shame you and gaslight you for not accepting just the okie doke. And you have to say, no, I'm willing to leave this situation. No, I'm willing to be alone for a short period of time if that means that I'm going to be respected on my terms. Anyway, I just wanted to share a few of the things that you might go through in this transition. That does not mean you should stop the transition, because it is the best thing ever. I just wanted to let you know what might happen in the midst of the transition. Let me know if you've ever experienced any of these things. And I'm not sure why this beat is giving so like vampire, but I'm kind of into it.
I think the best moment as an adult is when you embrace your villain era. I have actually outgrown the days where I stepped out of my comfort zone. Like, if I don't want to go, I'm just not going. If I don't want to do you a favor, I'm just going to say no. And if I don't want to be around certain people, I'm just not going to come. And like, the reality of this era is like embracing hanging out with yourself. It gets to a certain point where like, you have been in those positions where you sacrifice your own autonomy as a person to appeal to other people's standards or other people's comfortability. And by means of that, you have made yourself uncomfortable. And when I realized that, I started becoming more content with the idea of being by myself. Like, I will literally pass up on going out when I'm just not feeling like it. Like, and at any minor inconvenience nowadays, I will legitimately be like, like, I'm okay. I think I'm going to sit this one out. And people don't understand why you are this way, but anybody that's had to pull themselves out of a deep hole or just overall like a depression that they never want to go back to, you set certain safeties and boundaries in place so you never have to revisit that place. And when you start to embrace the idea and being your own guardian and overall embracing the villain era, you will be at peace. Like, I love it here.
You done already had the worst. What do you have to lose? You know, a lot of us are not really walking in our power because it really just gives like, oh, but what if, you know, I don't get this? And then what if I don't have that? It's kind of like, well, you already got the worst. This is already the bottom of the barrel. You ain't got shit to lose. The man already acting like he ain't got no sense. The money is already not money. The fairy tale is already not given. So what do you have to lose? Like even Jay-Z said, I ain't got nothing to lose and everything to gain. If you in the trenches, you ain't got shit to lose. The only way you would go is up. Child, get these people your ass to kiss and really start demanding results. I'm talking about like right now. I'm talking about right now, like fuck you, pay me type of results. Because at this point, villain era. No more Mrs. Nice Girl. Mrs. Nice Girl's gone. Christina, she's gone. You do the hiring and firing. You're the captain now. You better turn this shit up. Turn it up. Stop playing. Nice girls, they're cool. But bad bitches, getting a
I know what is really funny. When you were soft, they called you weak. When you were forgiving, they called you desperate. Now that you're silent, focused, suddenly you're arrogant and cold? Yes I am. Yeah, 'cause I'm healed and I learned how to protect my energy. Yes, if you think I'm cruel, yes I am. But I'm just done over-explaining why I deserve peace. Screw that. No. I ain't gonna play this game anymore.
Okay. These are things I do because I don't mind being the villain. If you self-deprecate in front of me, I'm not going to bend over backwards to compliment or validate you. When a person targets me with an ugly personality because of their own insecurities or lack of emotional maturity, I don't feel bad about coming for their looks. I've never been targeted unprovoked by people whose lives are more put together than mine and by people who have more pretty privilege than me. I believe in practicing gratitude, but I don't believe in practicing humility. I'm never going to pretend that I don't know how smart, powerful, pretty, funny, and inspirational I am. If I have to have you blocked, your entire circle of friends and your family members will be blocked for generations and generations to come. If someone makes it painfully obvious that they have a problem with me for no reason at all, or that they're envious of me, I'll continue being myself, but on steroids. Because if it's your full-time job to hate on me for no reason, I have to keep making you mad, or else you wouldn't have a salary. But that's right, hating on people for no reason has no reward.
Some of them will hate you like they are getting paid for it. Newsflash, they are not. There is no salary, no bonus, no benefits. Just you living in their mind rent-free. Must be exhausting, huh? I know.
3 ways to start your villain era. Number 1, learn to say no. This is where you get out of the people-pleasing mindset and move into the mindset of queen consciousness. This is how you're going to bring yourself in a level up. Number 2, put your standards above your feelings. You told yourself you were done with him 2 years, sis. I don't care how much you feel that you're in love. It's time to put that aside and put your standards above that. This keeps you out of a state of mind where you're not only putting your feminine energy on the line, but you're also putting your self-respect on the line as well. Number 3, last but not least, cut them off now and cry later. A little lesson I learned from my grandmother. It's better to sob in your bed than to be with somebody who disrespects you, dishonors you, and doesn't deserve to be in your life. Because showers bring flowers and you'll move on. Bitterness brings thorns and they'll hold on. Hope this helps, and as always, stay powerful.
So I've been seeing a lot of videos talk about how when you are in your healing journey, there's a point where you're going to come into a lot of anger. People don't talk about this part enough, but this phase is what they would call the villain era. It's basically like you've been spending your whole life with a blindfold over your eyes, and then the blindfold gets removed and you start to see everybody for who they are. You realize all the ways that you've been people-pleasing your whole life, and you start to see how you were manipulated, abused, taken advantage of. You were the person that everyone would go to because you would never say no. You cared more about other people's feelings than your own. So you were just willing to just suck it up and do things even if you didn't want to, for the sake of keeping the peace. So once you get to that point where you start to enforce boundaries, that's when you start to see everybody's true colors come out, because they can no longer use you. Whether it's for your time, your energy, your money, whatever. So this new version of you now becomes unlikable to just about everybody because they can't use you anymore. And you get to this point where you start standing 10 toes down for yourself. You don't care who you lose. But you start to feel so much anger, not only towards the people around you, but towards yourself for allowing such behavior for such a long time and not being able to see it. You get to a point where you're like, damn, people really don't fuck with me the way I was fucking with them. Like, you were moving from a place of genuine love only to be used by just about everybody. That will make you mad. That will make you mad. And that anger is 100% valid. So yeah, allow yourself to feel angry and enjoy your peace. Good for you for putting yourself first.
Sometimes people paint you as a villain so they don't feel guilty for how they treated you. Like, they'll flip the script, leave out what they did, and then they make it seem like you were the problem all along. But bestie, that's not the truth. It's just easier for them to blame you than to sit with their own guilt. You know, they'll call you crazy, but won't mention the nights that you cried yourself to sleep. They'll say you changed, but forget how many chances you actually gave them. People rewrite history when accountability feels too heavy. So if they label you as the villain, let them. Because God knows the real story, and deep down, so do they. And one thing about the truth, it always comes out. So stop carrying their guilt, walk in peace, and choose you every time.